What's up, Tarkov enjoyers? So on the BSG Twitter, they linked their primary roadmap to the next Escape from Tarkov's updates. And using this roadmap, we actually get a clue at when the next wipe will be. So starting from the very beginning, the next update planned for Tarkov is going to be this one, 0.13.0.5, and it's going to be a technical update. The main fixes in here are the flashlight problems, so fixes for visual problems with flashlights. So as you know, flashlights are super bugged now. Flashlights go through floors. Flashlights, even if you have them off, it can be seen past render distance. They're like super broken. And audio tweaks on interchange and lighthouse. And these ones are so you see it mainly on interchange, but it's with the verticality of audio. Like you could be on the main floor and someone running on the basement, you hear them on the same level as you. So that's been broken for a while. So I don't know if it'll be fixed, but that's going to be the next technical update. Changes in headsets, we won't know. Changes in AI voice lines, we won't know anything. Fixes in incorrect audio and volume of gunshots and explosives. That could help, but. And then fixes of incorrect movements on bots in the prone position. This was a bug some people saw. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's good that they're fixing. The next thing on the roadmap is Unity, transition to Unity 2021, but they didn't list it with a patch number. So like the two technical updates, they have patch numbers, and the content update, which I think will be the wipe, has a patch number. So this, I think, is just a soft transition. There's not going to be a patch with it, and not going to be any gameplay updates or anything. So they're just transitioning to a new Unity system, which will allow them to make better and more changes in the future, like for memory leaks and HDR stuff. Then the next actual update will be 0.13.1. And this one is a bigger technical update again. So this one I don't think will be a wipe. This one will just be, the classic 2-3 hour patch and continue on. So this one, they're looking to increase the synchronization of players and clients and increasing the number up to 60. So as far as I know, only streets will have up to 60. Like the smaller maps like customs and reserve and obviously factory aren't going to have 60, but the server will have the capability of having 60 for when maps like streets and like when woods and lighthouse eventually connect, you will have the opportunity to go up to 60. Then after that, there's actually a couple of changes that are needed or good changes. So up here at the top, they say they're changing the display and synchronization of the players to the client. So this will improve hit registration because the problem right now is where you see yourself on the screen, the client doesn't have you in the same position. So that's why sometimes like on your screen you'll run through a doorway, but then you'll die and it looks like you got shot around a corner, or like maybe you thought you were lagging, but it's just the difference of where you see yourself versus where the server sees you. So fixing that generally fixes these other things like hit registration, accuracy of positioning. So that's the same thing you can see here. Position matching of the player on the server and the client. So that's more of what I talked about, where you see yourself on your screen will actually be where the client sees you. Because right now the client sees you like maybe a couple hundred milliseconds behind where you're seeing yourself. So coming with that, we also have noticeable increases in FPS, which is good, and then just a bunch of general quality of life, reducing the chance of encountering desynchronization with the server. So that is like when you're running in raid and you get the endless running sound, and then the screen cuts to black. and you have to reload back in. So that's that sort of. And then network traffic optimization, which again is just more optimization. You have the new culling system on old locations, so that's just going back to update older maps. Another very big one is optimizing RAM consumption and uh, eliminating. It doesn't say reducing, it says eliminating, which I think is a big word. Eliminating the possibility of memory leaks. So right now, memory leaks are really bad on two maps. Obviously, the two biggest maps, they're really bad on streets and they're really bad on Lighthouse. Some of these maps are hard to play even with like 16 gigs of RAM. You need more RAM or you need to lower your settings. So hopefully it'll allow those maps to be more playable. And then optimized rendering system for semi-transparent materials. So this is another big thing because when the game launches, right now the reason why there's so much RAM and memory leak and everything is because you're rendering everything on the map. Like even if you're on one side of woods, you're rendering all the trees and all the things on the map. Whereas the actual system they want to have in place, you only render what's in your field of view. So I guess the easiest example is if you're in the mall in interchange, all the trees and trains and streets and grass, all of those intensive stuff, they don't render until you go outside. So it'll be a lot better on processing. So 13.1 technical update, I picture to be a lot smoother playing, both in terms of FPS, in terms of memory, and in terms of RAM consumption. So the main thing I hope this fixes is the memory leaks, because sometimes like Street is like unplayable, or you'll be playing it and then 30 seconds you get the Running Man glitch, which again is desyncing. Yeah, so that's the technical update. And now here's the big point. This next patch is 0.14.0. So it's moving up in denomination. And this one is called a content update. So these ones were both technical updates, which are usually the 2 to 3 hour patch you continue on playing. And this is the content update. So this is when I think the wipe will be. So you'll know the wipe is coming after the 13.1 technical update and waiting to do the 0.14 content update. Because not only, obviously the difference in name, but this is probably a couple months down, so the time will line up better. But you have the Streets expansion, and you have the BTR on Streets, which is kind of the two big things. Because they want Streets to be like a super, super big, almost open world in itself map. And the BTR is going to be like the taxi service. So it's going or supposed to be a length like farther than you can you'd want to run. They're adding the new boss on streets and they're adding the vaulting mechanic. So with all these new mechanics coming in and the content update and the Streets of Tarkov expansion, that's what's leading people to think that this one will be the next wipe. But in terms of date or how long, like not only does no one know, but no one is going to know until the only people who ever release wipes are BSG. People that rumor are not right. It's only BSG will tell you the time, but I think this one, 0.14.0, is going to be the white patch. So going back to the patch notes, so we have the three new things from Streets. You have the Streets expansion, which essentially is going to more than double in size. You have the taxi on Streets, and you have the new boss on Streets. You also have the vaulting mechanic, which is being worked on but will be implemented here. You have the armored plates for body armor and rework of hitboxes. So this one is instead like if you're wearing a plate body or a Thor or let's say something chunky, if someone shoots your arms, it'll take away the armor durability on the whole armor plate. Whereas this, each armor, if it covers chest and thorax, or I mean, or sorry, thorax and stomach, or if it covers just thorax, it'll have individual hitboxes. So if your chest gets destroyed, the armor still works on your stomach, or the armor still works on your arms. So each things will have individual hitboxes on the armor, not just the 60 out of 60 and then, 0 out of 60, but each spot on the armor will have its own hitbox. So still reworking kit presets, which we already know what that stuff's about, because it hasn't, the presets on the bottom right of your Tarkov screen, it never saves, it never works properly. Weapon animation when interacting with cover, this just goes with vaulting. It's like similar to vaulting because when you vault, or if you go to vault, you can't obviously have your gun out at the same time. And with vaulting also brings weapon mounting, so kind of the same thing there. Left shoulder shooting, so this is something that's popular in like Valorant or CS:GO for a while. Tarkov, obviously, you only have the gun coming off your right side. Left shoulder shooting just mirrors the screen. You shoot with your left, you throw your grenades with your. Yeah. Hideout expansion, that I imagine will be something similar to the most recent wipe. We got the gym expansion. So, and right now, the only thing that builds out of there is the gym. So, there's going to be other stuff that come out of there. Randomized loot containers. We saw this with the video that they most recently did with the container on top of third story dorms. When you go out to third story dorms, there's a weapon crate there. And with the randomized loot containers, it just seemed like some raids the weapon crate will spawn there, some raids the weapon crate might not spawn there. So there's going to be nothing there. Rework of recoil mechanics, we see them doing this with all the updates. Personally, I think the reworks of recoil they've done have been really good. Both the vertical recoil and the camera recoil they've done have been felt amazing, so happy with this. Quick pistol transition, this just means like, how if you play a game like Call of Duty or something, swapping to a pistol, you pull it out way faster than swapping to a secondary or whatever. Whereas in Tarkov, right, or just another gun. Whereas in Tarkov right now, you don't really have a buff for carrying a pistol. So there's no real need to carry a pistol unless you're sniping or something. So this should be a good thing, and you'll have way more needs of bringing like a 5.7 with you if you run out of ammo and don't have time to reload, for example. Suppressor durability, sound variations, and subsonic ammunition. This is supposedly just going to be a rework because subsonic ammo doesn't really work. Suppressors work too good. Like, you know, the it shouldn't be suppressing the noise as much as it does in game, but it does. So they're just going to rework suppressors, it seems like. Ammunition loading interface. This is just going to be quality of life buffs to mag loading before your raids. So just like how a couple wipes ago you got the right click on your mag and you could choose what ammo, it's just going to be continuation of that. Brightness adjustment, sure that works out. Maps are way too dark. User interface rework. So that's just going to be the UI in general, which we kind of or sorry, it kind of needs that, both the main menu and your tab screen. Quest rebalance, this happens with every wipe. Last wipe in general, the quest XP got super buffed, and the quest rewards get changed around. So every wipe they just change the rewards. Some OP quests get nerfed a bit. A lot. The good thing is a lot of the shit quests get buffed to where they're actually usable. Like healthcare privacy part 4 for like 2 years was useless. You would always just do the kill sanitar one, but this most recent wipe they updated it so that the don't kill sanitar one actually gives you good rewards like the black keycard. Rebalance of levels, skills, and mastering. That's always going on. You know, they they can change the master ability. They've already changed how quickly you can get to max stats. They always change those around. I'm hoping it's not going to take longer, but sort of keep it at the same. Because maybe like two wipes ago, it took, like, there was a bad exploit. So like they reset all your skills even if you didn't exploit. So it took forever to get mastery that way. So I'm hoping that, well, two things. I'm hoping they keep the progression of skills and levels relatively faster or the same speed it is, because I'm a lot more happier with it now. And secondly, there's still a whole bunch of skills that are supposed to be in the game, but they haven't either finished the skill or it was broken and they took it out and then they have to re-implement it. So like for a long time, you know, or you still have like the the sickness skill and the radiation skill and the cold durability skill, where stuff like the temperature and the radiation and stuff isn't in the game, but the skill for those are. Or a while ago, like the weapon mate before the weapon repair kits and stuff, the weapon maintenance skills were kind of useless before the weapon kits came in. So those kind of just things. Bipods and stabilizing firearms with cover. We talked about that. That's just in the vaulting update. You can bipod your gun. You can bipod an LMG. You can bipod a sniper, which will be good if for like shooter born in heaven, let's say. Choosing which body part to heal via hotkey. So this will just mean like if you have a bleed on your stomach or a bleed on your chest versus a bleed on your leg, you can choose to heal the more severe part. So that will work. Helmet flashlight. So actually, if you go right now, you can see that on some helmets you have where you can attach night vision. You have the option to attach flashlights to them, but it doesn't let you. So I imagine that's where that's going. You can put it on your helmet. So stuff like Nighttime Factory, you can just put on an X400 on your helmet. It'll be nice. Med and food consumption upon double click, that's just quality of life. Instead of you pick up an apple juice, instead of right clicking, use 40 out of 40. You can just double click and drink it. I'm all down for quality of life. These are all the underbarrel grenade. Oh, sorry. These are new guns, and they're adding the underbarrel grenade for the SCAR. So AK-12, another AK. So these ones right here, PKM, RPD, and SVT 40 are those are the Mosin rounds or the SVD rounds, but fully auto, like the machine gun version. So those are going to hit like a brick. Like imagine getting, 7N40 and PS, but fully auto, not just through a 10 round SVD or a Mosin. So I'm interested to see how they balance those. SVT is just going to be like the SKS version of the Mosin rounds. 9891, I think this is it's the submachine gun for the VSS and AS Val rounds. So the 9 by 39 millimeter. So you can run like a BPP or SP6 SMG. So I think it'll be good for like labs and factory, but other than that, it'll be really expensive to run. So those are my thoughts on the updates, as well as my prediction on when the next wipe will be, which is a wipe with 0.14. So I hope you stuck through. I hope you learned something. Good luck in your raids, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Bye.